kind of just wanted to go back to something you said, I think a minute or two ago, which is that I think with Trey Lance, he opens up the window for the 49ers. I think you're absolutely right. He extends Kyle's leash beyond, I don't want to say just this season, because Kyle does have a longer leash than most head coaches would have, but let's go through a different scenario that we're going to talk about very soon. If the 49ers had traded for Matthew Stafford, their window shrinks compared to Trey Lance. I mean, right now, Matthew Stafford is essentially on a 2-year deal. So you're saying to yourself, either we're going to pay him a ton of money 2 years from now and we're not going to win then, or we're going to have to cut bait. So I think what Trey Lance offers, like you were saying, is he really opens up the 49ers to some leeway so that if they do stumble, if they do fall, they can pick themselves back up if they do eventually win, because they have all the time in the world, at least compared to the rest of the NFL.
Yeah, and it's not just he opens up the team's success, he opens up the individual player success as well. Like with Trey Lance in the lineup or as a starting quarterback, I think we could see a lot more Deebo Samuel playing in more traditional wide receiver role and running more routes and not, it felt like sometimes last year and even in 2019, they kind of just ran Deebo into the ground and that kind of led to more injuries with him. But with this Trey Lance move and the ability to open up the offense and use it in different ways, you could see Deebo Samuel more in a traditional wide receiver role, and that's not to say that they're not going to use him in the running game. Like they're still going to give him, 2-3 carries, but that cuts in half.
Garoppolo, like there's this great stat that I always see that I bring up to people when they talk about this point specifically, is that with Deebo Samuel last year, he averaged 2.1 air yards per target. That's insanely low. I think the next highest is like Juju Smith-Schuster at 5.5 yards. So, I mean, it's going to definitely open up things for Deebo Samuel in terms of him being utilized as a more true wide receiver. But
and even Ayuk too.
That's what I was about to say, Vincent. Ayuk, I mean, literally, I went over this. Vincent. I mean, there were 3 catches Ayuk had last season over 20 yards. That's insane. Yeah. That's not going to happen next season. That can't happen next season. And listen, I'm going to talk about Ayuk more later, but I'm really excited to see him within this offense, especially with Trey Lance, because I think, the threat, like we always talk about with Trey Lance, that 11-on-11 football that he offers, it is really great, and it is going to make a difference. But now that you have a player who's actually willing to throw you the ball down the field, take bigger risks, and give Ayuk more of an opportunity to show off the skill set that he just hasn't been able to show off yet with the 49ers, I think Ayuk is going to flourish in this new offense with Trey Lance.